Broadcasting around the world. This is On the Record with Christian Briggs. Serious talk about what's happening around the world. Hosted by Christian Briggs. Follow him on X at BMC_HAM. Live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is going to be a show that's going to probably get a lot of buzz because everyone's asking about this AI revolution. The AI revolution is not just in hiring. You know, people are like, oh, my job's going to get replaced. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And let me tell you something. AI is definitely going to replace a lot of jobs. AI is going to take the place of some of the most basic tasks there is in the world. Robotics are different. That's more of a physical presence. Will they take over a lot? They already have. So between AI integrated software into a business, a service, a manufacturing, all the way to robotics that might even replace domestic help, we're going to figure out, is it a bubble? Are they going to go bust? Or are they going to become the next generation of all the world's productivity? Forget just the US. Today on the record, I'm going to break it down and I'm going to show everybody in what I think is going to be a very logical way of which to understand exactly what's forthcoming.
This podcast is brought to you by Hard Asset Management. We have the lowest prices on all precious metals. Call us at 844-426-4653. That's 844-426-4653.
Okay, so on the AI right now, here's what we're looking at. Is artificial intelligence already starting to become a way of life that we can't ever escape? I'll give you an example. Convenience, safety, efficiency. These are great words that are used in order to be able to get people to understand something, or at least give that warm and fuzzy feeling about another product or a service or something of that nature, where somebody says, hey, this is so easy, it's convenient, it's safe, it's efficient. Those are government words, or they could be private sector. It doesn't really matter, but those are words that people then will be like, well, let me check it out. What are you talking about? Let's look at this. And that's what's happening. So the people are like, oh, we're going to create a whole new world where healthcare is going to be efficient. You go to a doctor. There's no doctor. It's a monitor. And the nurse comes to you and says, what's your problem? What is it you need today? Well, you go in and the next thing you know is just all these different things poking at you. But it's mechanical. It's a robot. Well, that's how you bring efficiency. That's how you bring consistency. That's how you don't have bias. Like, you know, the DEI in medical. Remember when the oath to become some type of a medical professional, a doctor, a nurse practitioner, physician practitioner, what have you, you would take this oath. And they were changing it under Obama and then Biden administration. They wanted you not to give quality care to anybody who walked in, but you had to segregate people based on race, okay? Well, robots don't do that. They'll just figure they're programmed to, well, help anybody the way it should be. So it sounds great. But is it going to replace people to the point where we don't need human beings? Are we going to have a depopulation? Well, let's break it down. So when you look at the world of two things that are very important. The technology, the technical advancement within AI, artificial intelligence, synthetic intelligence, and of course robotics, which is the physical presence of next generation manufacturing, childcare, healthcare, what it could be a CPA, it could be a lawyer, it could be transportation. You don't need robotics, but you have autonomous driven cars. Look at Waymo, look at Uber and Lyft already making deals with Rivian and other huge, Tesla's getting into it. These companies, these manufacturers and these software companies, like Google's a software company, not so much as much search. Obviously search is a part of what? That's the utility, but the function is building software that then brings all of that into a point of where we don't need people anymore. And it's kind of scary. So is it a bubble? Is technology overvalued? Is Michael Berry, who's short $1.1 billion of NVIDIA stock and Palantir stock, is it a bubble? Is that the question you have to ask yourself? Is it a bubble? And I don't think it's a bubble, because here's why. We're not only taking AI into every single business category, every part of a person's life, corporate, personal, government. you're transforming systems. Like, take digital currency. Let's talk about that for a second. When you have digital currency and you have it in such a way that is in your wallet, you've got this thing. I says, oh, look at this. I have $10,000, but they're tokens. I can simply just push a button, send it, receive it. That's efficient. Is that a bubble? No. If the companies who support that next generation money and how it functions, because you're going from 5,000 years of physical to the last 5 years of digital. So that means that you're going to take what has been for 5,000 years understood, and you're going to reposition that, transform that. Just think of all of those different platforms to integrate into one cohesive A to B, right? Peer-to-peer positioning of how you buy and sell things. And I mean, all these things around the world, all these different companies, these banks, these central banks, these private banks, these commercial banks, have to sit there and be on one platform. It's trillions of dollars to transform these, well, by some measure, archaic way of which we do business. So what I've been saying is the trillions spent will have hundreds of trillions of dollars in revenues, because you're taking what already is existing and you're going from, let's say, analog, great example, an analog system to a digital fiber system. And by doing that, you really are taking here and you're putting over there. So it's not like there's no people over here. You just have to, you go like this. So whatever is being spent here, whatever monies are being generated here, top line, bottom line, it's going over here. So all the infrastructure they're building under here to layer on top of what is existing is just transferring from, let's say, antiquated, analog, old school, medieval, doesn't work for flippo, to flip over here. Boom. It's not a bubble. Now, are there opportunities for volatility? Yeah, lots of volatility. Will people be able to make money off that? Well, I sure hope so. I mean, that's what you need. So when anybody asks me about is technology overvalued? No, to the degree that we're moving from horse and buggies. If I was a horse and buggy business, I was in the hat business. I was in the outdoor outhouse business. If I was in the steamship business and I saw all of these technical advances in my business category, I would be like, oh, cars, nah, they're never going to catch on. Big steamships from a paddle boat, let's say a paddle boat business, or one like, let's say we have a rowing business, because with the Vikings, look at the evolution of how things progressed, the progress that has been made in recent years. It's not a bubble. Again, volatility will be the name of the game. That is true. That's going to happen. But that's okay. If it starts at $10 and it gets to 50 in 3 or 4 years, but you had to make a little bit of the ups and downs, sometimes volatile enough to make you want to get out of it, stay the course. Some of these companies are going to be doing quite well. But is it good for us to have this kind of transformation to where over 100 million people, mark my words, write this down, this is a good point, 100 million people, or thereabouts, will probably have some form of job loss. 100 to 105 million, 120 million people maybe. And they're going to have this job loss because why? Because what they represent in talent and experience is less than the value of the replacement. And the replacement is physical robot or AI software. Or maybe it probably could be both. Some people are going to be replaced by just software in customer service, software in fast food preparation, software in driving. You're not going to have a robot behind the wheel, but you have software driving it. There may not even be a steering wheel theoretically. It could be just a mechanism in the front. And so they'll start to phase these cars out that have driver-enabled systems. It's going to be driverless. So again, how do you put a price on that? Well, you don't, but there's going to be one soon, and that's called universal basic income. But we'll get to that here in a second. So let's keep rocking here. Let's talk a little bit about who are the companies? Who's going to elevate this? Well, Amazon already has. My understanding is they either have, will, or intend to replace up to 750,000 employees. Some of these are people that are probably already existing, that they got robotics have taken their place. Some of them may be jobs that have been filled 5 years ago, at least based on a fairly conservative financial model for the next 5 or 10 years, which Amazon's very smart people. Jeff Bezos, he's a genius when you think about it. I mean, who else can take a little bit of a little 500 square foot office, sell a couple books online, and turn it into the largest online retailer? My hat's off to them, whether you like his politics or not. That guy's smart. Come on, he's a smart guy. He's created millions of jobs, indirectly and directly. He's been great for the world's economy because he created a whole new dynamic on how to create. And for some people, it's been a lifesaver, from whether they work there as an employee with stock options, salaries, or people that may have had challenges physically to go up to the stores that comes to your doorstep. It's a great deal. But let's talk about where he is now, or certainly the people that are running it, because I know he was stepped on as CEO. He's got some pretty kick-ass boats, by the way. So if you haven't seen his yachts, highly look those up. He's got good taste, I'll say that for sure. And so you look at, again, how Amazon has positioned themselves. Robots are not, or robotic engineering is not just about replacing people. You don't have any HR issues. And don't take offense to this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There was a study, I think it was Norway maybe, or Finland, but one of those Scandinavian countries. There was some complaining about gender inequality in the workplace. And I'm sure there's some value to that. I'm not an expert on it, but I'm just going to tell you what the study was in a non-biased way, where about 350,000 women were complaining about not being paid or having gender inequality for their workplace and their position. So I guess the government had allowed them to all take a day or two off. And a lot of the systems that thought were going to fail did not fail. HR didn't have as many problems. And it could go both ways. It could be men, but it just happened to be women had the day or two off to be able to determine whether there was an issue with gender. And there was some things, but what it showed was not so much whether the gender was a problem. It was really just about how humans can interact. And if you take a lot of that emotions out, or biased out, or mood swings, or reflections of a good day, bad day, you can get a higher level of productivity. And men and women are both can be emotional, so I'm not saying one over the other, but I am saying this, that a study shows humans are not the most efficient form of business, at least in this study. And number two, Amazon's already figured out that robotics can replace humans, and that is extremely efficient and lower cost. So as Amazon moves forward with replacing humans at a pre-existing warehouse or future warehouses of jobs that they would have otherwise hired humans, but they're not, what's going to benefit them is it's going to bring their costs down. Their profits are going to go up, which goes back into the economy and the local, the state, the federal levels. And their shareholders are going to make a lot more money. So there is a balance there. So again, it's not a bubble. But Amazon's going to be one of those companies that will rise because of this transformation of a way in how and who works in the labor force. And then let's take some other companies. You've got companies like the car manufacturing business. Now, are they going to sell less cars because there's less drivers maybe in the future? No, I don't think so. I think driverless cars are going to be a part of the transportation business, but not ever going to allow that to overtake people's love. And in theory, it's a theory, of course, but I don't see how people are going to be wanting to get rid of driving a car. I mean, you get some of these new fancy zippy cars, Ferraris or Porsches or whatever it is, and they're fabulous cars, make no mistake about it. And they're zippy and fun and exciting to drive. So I don't think you're going to replace the thrill of that. And you're not going to replace race car drivers in cars. You make them more, let's say, technically advanced to win races, but it's still the driver that drives them. It's not like, oh, they're on rails or it's a computer. Computer helps the systems within the car communicate to the driver various road conditions or braking conditions or suspension situations, and then they can become alerted to that. But it's not going to replace a driver. So there's a few things that at least we can say aren't going to be replaced. But overall, there's a lot of people. I mean, there was an article a couple weeks ago I read, or some Democrats or some economists, it was something like that, and they were saying like up to 105 million people will replace in the next 5 to 7 years. Well, I started studying it, I don't think they're wrong. It's a little scary. What are you going to do with them? Well, I guess you put them on universal basic income, or you call it grants. Grants were basically where you give them a certain amount of money to live on, housing vouchers, food vouchers, health care, a number of different things, or just straight up cash so they can live. But right now we're talking about AI that is growing in such a way, and right now at such a rate, that you almost have to ask yourself, are the systems growing on their own as they self-taught, self-learn, self-educate, and then double that capacity and the complexity every couple of weeks, every few months, because that's how it's happening, to where this thing is exponentially going to happen much sooner? Is that the reason why we're throwing trillions of dollars in these data centers? These data centers are critical infrastructure. Without them, you cannot process any of the things I'm saying. You cannot do it at all, because it all works on a very thin line of hardware. The software runs the programs that are hosted on the hardware. The hardware is hosted in these massive data centers connected to all 4 points of the world to systematically continue to resolve, improve, increase exponentially productivity within a said, local, state, or federal levels and or around the world. And they're doing that. When you look at the efficiency of just the fast food, or the efficiency of the robotics and how they can pick, pack, ship in an Amazon warehouse, how they can take you from A to B in a autonomous driven car, there's no doubt this is exponentially like this. Now, is it this, sometimes this, sometimes this, sometimes that? So there are going to be some road bumps in the valuations. But I got to tell you, I still think that whatever is happening today, in 5 years, there's going to be about $1.5 trillion to $2 trillion in that ballpark given back to the bottom line of corporations. I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's McDonald's. I don't care if it's Boeing. I don't care if it's Caterpillar. I don't care if it's Zaxby's. I don't care if it's Chick-fil-A. It could be ABC, housekeeping, house cleaning, domestic cooking. It doesn't matter. Robots. I saw a demo. This is a demo. I don't think you can buy it yet, but it looked good. It was doing vacuuming. It was folding clothes. The fact that it was doing what it's doing now at this stage of the AI revolution was phenomenal, because as it stands right now, you would buy that. If they're at a right price, you would buy that. Why? Well, if you have a housekeeper, $30,000 a year full time, lives with you, or comes 9 to 5 at $30,000 or $40,000 a year, which is not crazy money in New York City for that type of a help, and a robot's $20,000 or $15,000 and can do every single thing on that list: clean, cook, laundry, vacuum, sweep, for 20 grand, 15 grand, you'll hire that in a second. Businesses won't care if it's a male or female. I mean, robot. I guess if they're non-binary, it might be better. Do they have non-binary for robots yet? Maybe they haven't thought that far ahead yet, but they will, because they're smart. Or some far left liberal crazy person will install them to have thoughts of emotional pronoun in a way such that they get offended. But let's just hold that hopefully off for a number of years so we can get it. But they will hire that robot. They will install that AI software if it means not even dramatic, but just a measure of increasing business or a measure of cost saving on the existing business. So Michael Berry's got this $1.1 billion short on NVIDIA and Palantir. I don't know the right thing. It's 80, 20, 70, 30% of the $1.1 billion, I think. You can look that up to verify that. But whatever it is, it's $1.1 billion. Now, that's a lot of cash, because if he's wrong, it's not like he owns the stock and it comes back. Like some people buy the stock, it goes down. Like, oh, I'll just wait. It's a good company. And Palantir, they do what they do very well. Some people like them. Some people don't. Some people think that they're more surveillance, control. Some people like the fact that they have a higher level of security integration into their software to determine friend or foe, which is good. So you gotta kind of go out for what it is. It's just, but we're talking about the company in general, whether the nuances of the company appeals to people. It must, because we're getting big contracts. So why would you short Palantir? The valuation. They being Michael Berry and or anybody else shorting it, don't see the value proposition at the current price. In other words, they think it's too expensive given the rational behavior in AI investment right now. And I think they're wrong. I think that Palantir is properly valued. Now, maybe it's a little head right now, but then it's also got a lot of runway and it's got a lot of deals, both signed and in the pipeline. So NVIDIA just this week has asked for more increase in the chips from Taiwan Semiconductor, which makes is the brand makes all the chips for who whatever Intel's, or if it's NVIDIA, or if it's Broadcom, or if it's ARM. These are all chip companies, or AMD, Applied Material. So if they're ordering more chips and ramping up the needs for more, that means they're getting orders for more. If they're getting orders for more, that means the people are getting orders for the servers where the chips go into. If the servers are getting ordered, the REITs or the companies constructing or building these data centers are getting orders and getting cash. Now, again, you may have some seasonal stuff, or you might actually have some things where maybe 1 quarter, 1 month, slow down until people can kind of gain their breath again. Like, okay, here we are. So again, it goes back to that same thing. Do you believe that that the revolution of technology evolution, which is going at light speed, is capable enough to maintain that momentum? Sure, absolutely. I'll tell you why. Again, I've already made some great arguments here. If we're debating the narrative and the affirmative, I really believe that the argument for is going to win this one. There just seems to be no downside consequences when you have a company that is trying to increase shareholder value, and one of the ways of which is to maintain the same goal as when you started the business. Keep the overhead as low as possible. Increase and maximize product development. Increase and maximize consumer adoption and consumption, all within the realm of a budget. I mean, it's a lot. You've got to identify your market, your customer, identify the product within the customer and the market needs and demand and supply chains. It's all part of the conditioning of building a business. And then to maintain, if you blow out the sales, if all of a sudden this thing that you're offering, this widget, let's just call it widget 1, just becomes the greatest thing ever introduced to the consumer, you're going to want to make sure that you can scale quickly. AI offers that. Robotics offers that. Humans have to be taught, learned, trained, educated, hand-holding a lot of times. I mean, HR departments aren't going to exist. There's just no need for it. You're not going to have sexual harassment issues. You're not going to have, I'm sick, I need PTOs, paid time off. You're not going to have any of those issues. So the amount of productivity will equate to the level of, I call it, challenges, right? You have challenges within a corporation, from expansion to hiring quality people that have the same enthusiasm and passion, all of those different things. And at that point, you're going to determine, if I take 10 employees and replace them with 10 robots, or maybe 5 robots. Well, think about that. Or it could be 3 robots, or it could be a piece of software that replaces what they do. Even if it's just as good, but it's systematically less expensive, you're going to do it. That's the role of a business owner or somebody at that C-level executive level, that CEO, COO, CFO, CTO. They're going to say, my job as a C-level person in a company organization, or as a business owner, or just somebody who's a partner, it could be anybody affiliated, they have that passion. We got to maintain the lowest cost denominator to create the maximized amount of sales and the customer service that needs to still be effective in order to be able to maintain what we have and to grow what we need to. All right, we're going to be right back. Don't go away. On the Record with Christian Briggs. Don't leave. I'm going to get into more and more of the downside now of this AI revolution. I mean, I kind of try to bring the upside to it, but let's talk about the downside. I'll be right back.
Gold has more than doubled in just 5 years, rising from $1,700 an ounce in 2020 to over $3,800 an ounce by September 2025. That's a 124% gain, outperforming the market and proving why gold is the ultimate long-term hedge. As global debt soars and currencies weaken, central banks are hoarding gold at record pace. Why aren't you? Call 844-426-4653 or visit bmcham.com. Protect your future with real assets. Own gold now.
Welcome back. Here we go. Let's go right to it. We are now at the transition point of a revolution. I'm not talking about a secular or religious or Christianity or Jewish or anything like that. We're talking about life. We're talking about getting up at 7 a.m., going to work, clock in, clock out, 5:36, going home, and feeling accomplished, feeling strong, feeling productivity as part of your life. You're contributing to a company, you own the business, you're putting your efforts into your ego, your system, and making the world a better place. Okay? Sounds like a good deal. But remember this. Can you be replaced for 10 cents on the dollar? No. 20 cents on the dollar? Maybe. 30 cents on the dollar? Absolutely. If I'm a business owner and I replace that person or persons with any number of different things that are now being offered out there, and as it grows to the next 2-3 years, it's going to be, in 3 years, it'll be 10 times more efficient. It's not going to be twice, 3 times. It's going to be 10 times, 20 times, 100 times in various business segments and different parts of this AI. And so the downside consequence, like I said earlier, I brought the topic up. I didn't want to get detail until the second half of the show here. What do you do with 105, 120, 150? What do you do with 2 billion people around the world who in the next 5 to 7 years, who's going to make French fries? Well, they already have robots doing it. Who's going to make hamburgers? Well, they already have robots doing that. Who's going to vacuum? Well, they already have robots. Who's going to do customer service? Well, I mean, have you seen some of these movies? These avatars are AI generated. I mean, go online. They're making home movies. These kids are, with things of which you would never. So what does that mean for, well, let's say the film industry? I mean, let's talk about the film industry. We've talked about other areas. How do you replace talent? Well, it's easy. You program it. How do you replace hairdressers, makeup artists, script writers, directors, producers, actors? Well, you do it. It's already being done. And not only is it being done, they just recently replaced, no, sorry, I won't say replace. I don't know, maybe they call it the right thing, but they did elect a new prime minister, and it was an artificial intelligent avatar who's now the prime minister of I forget the country off the top of my head. I talked about it last show. I'm like, so does she sleep? What do you pay her? What do you feed her? Oh, electricity. Okay. How silly of me to forget that. What do you pay her? With Bitcoin, because she's digital. I don't know. She doesn't have to buy as many shoes, that's for sure. So you got to save a little money there, I guess. So you start looking at all the things of which this can replace. It can replace everything. It can replace elected politicians. It just did. No, we're talking about the complete cannibalization of an entire industry, not one or two, because they're getting a little older and they're retiring, or maybe they don't have the experience in a certain part of law, or if it's a CPA or selling cars, a car salesman. We're eliminating everybody. There's nothing, with the exception of maybe one or two very, 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 very specific parts of the business world, that AI can't replace. But we are. And we're doing it fast. Why? Because the profits are there. So the downside is we may have billions of people being replaced. And I don't mean like in the next 10 or 15 years. I mean like in the next 10, 15, 26, 30, 36, 50, 60 months. And it's like this. It's not like this one morning. Oop, hey, I lost my job today. No, my jobs are being lost. My job is already eliminated. You're just not there yet. But all of this stuff is done. You've got digital currency, digital transportation, called the meta, which I'll explain that in a second. Transportation, vacations, you'll see. I'll give you the 411. Healthcare. There's no more stress. You don't work. Healthcare costs will go down. Everything's going to be on your app. You might get fatter, but they might limit you to what you can buy with the social credit score. It's another thing, AI. So they're integrating. This is the downside. This isn't all about just great profits, bottom line, net this, net that. There's some downside consequences to this transformation, because once you go digital, baby, you ain't going back. It's not going to happen. Once you transform into digital, that's the way it is. So my whole thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is, do we really need that much? Well, if you're a corporation trying to save billions to make additional billions, you will always argue the fact, oh, yes, we do. So the downside consequence is we go full digital. Now we have people at home. They're watching Meta, which takes them to places they can no longer afford or never could afford or never could even thought about dream to, but they put their goggles on, and next thing you know, they're like, ooh, look at that. Ooh. Take the goggles off. Go to the restroom, come back, they're in their lazy boy. Ooh, it looks beautiful. They're doing this, they're doing that. It's already here. Don't think I'm wrong. 99% of the people in this world in the next 10, 15 years will not leave that living room for vacation. Their whole family will put the goggles on. They'll do a 4-day travel experience, pay $500 or $100, or maybe it's just $40 a month. They don't have to work. So how are they going to be entertained? Put them in the house. Why do you think Facebook transitioned to Meta Universe? They know what's coming. They're part of the whole revolution. It's like Zuckerberg once said, only billionaires will be able to travel one day. They'll be the ones who can afford it. And I don't think he was being too far out of the lane there when he said it. Now we know he's right. So again, it goes back to, are we in a state of mind where the profits of a company, which can be dictating the policy, which it should in a lot of cases, ultimately be the new version of societies? Ultimately, every decision's made on that. It is. We've got the Genius Act. We're going full digital. No more paper dollars. We're getting rid of the Federal Reserve. Why? Because they were usurping Congress and building a CBDC behind their back. I know this. I know this very well. So I go back to the same thing. As we transform all these wonderful things into a digital state of mind, like what happened 2 days ago. European Union enacts a law limiting cash transactions, limiting private crypto holdings to just 10,000 euros. 10,000 euros in cash. You can't do more than that, or it's a crime. Ever. Great Britain, 20,000 pounds, which is about $26,000, I think, roughly. So $26,000 is all you can limit in a cash transaction. You do more than that, that's a crime, and it's a big-time crime. Why? Because they're moving us, pushing us, leading us, dragging us to digital. Not just any digital, third-party custodial digital. They're leading us down a path to tell us how efficient, safe, and convenient it is for your money to be held by a third party who has the rights in which to do that, not self-custody. In order to do that, then what happens is you now literally have something by which everybody, and I mean everybody, will be held accountable in such a way that if they don't like what you're doing, they'll just turn it off. So as this AI revolution is making billions, trillions of dollars for these companies, individuals around the world, not just here, realize the consequences of this. You start to build concentration camps called third-party custody wallets. You're in there. They don't like you, shut the door behind you. Close your account. Freeze your account. It's digital. What are you going to do? You have no other form of which to do business with. If you're lucky enough to have some gold and silver, then you can use that. That's always going to be driven by pure value. That's what it is. It's pure money. But cash is gone. Look at it again. Go back to what happened in the European Union early Sunday morning here in the States, their Monday morning early, where they basically said, this is a law of the land. We are now transacting in a digital manner, transforming in a paperless world. You will be held accountable. You will not go outside these boundaries. You will not go outside the sandbox of the way of which you can transact in cash. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to hold any more than 10,000 euros in private crypto. Private crypto is real simple. This, I know you probably asked earlier when I said it. Decentralized systems are private crypto, where it allows anonymity, and it's driven by well, it's got some control, obviously, but not the kind of control the government could come in and just grab it. The control is, yeah, you can get hacked and people can take it. So there is some things there that can help and hurt, but it's still better to have decentralized than centralized. Once you centralize something, you centralize the power to a very few who control the masses under a centralized guidelines. So again, if we're going to do a society that is still going to be free, capitalist, we have to limit the way of which, or at least the boundaries of any of these people who could get in there, like Trump, good guy, great intention, great agendas. We're going to full digital. What if we get a bad administration? And they're like, I'm not liking, I don't think that we should have this much freedom with the money because, well, it's not equitable, or there could be nefarious consequences with bad actors. Yeah, and then they pull a lever and they say, okay, we've made it now deeper centralized or more programmable to freeze the money. We've now changed regulations on what is hate speech so we can fine you. What is carbon footprint so we can fine you. Raise taxes automatically so we can take from you more instantly. It's not like you file your returns, you send those in, and then you patiently wait to pay them, or you pay them right on the spot. Either way, because you can do an extension, give a little time to pay it. But at least you have the flexibility. With digital, there is no flexibility. They're monitoring, they're holding, they're surveilling, they're controlling your money right now, here today. And if you think I'm crazy, go look up the digital euro. It's already done. It's just now trying to put it into society, trying to streamline it in the most efficient manner with the least amount of chaos, rioting. What we're really trying to do is to do it without you knowing what it is. That's what it is. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's no different than that digital ID they did in the UK. They passed it. 3 million people signed a petition. We don't want digital ID. Why? It's the first step to have digital currency. You must have digital ID. So, as we sit here, in a state of mind, it's a state of mind, not in a literal sense, and we formulate, what do? I'm telling you, you got to have some gold and silver stuck away, packed away, stored away, at your fingertips. Don't get into that token gold, silver, that's junk. Don't get into all of that paper gold and silver. If you want that stuff and you need it, what are you going to do? Call on a Saturday afternoon, call your broker and go sell my digital gold or my paper gold? He's going to first say, well, it's Saturday. I can't. I'm not going to do it if I wanted to, because you can't do it. So call me Monday. Great. I call him. Boom, it's sold. 2 days later, more so, could be a week. Depends on who you're calling, how you're doing. If it's token, sometimes it could take weeks to sell it and to get your cash. Think about this for a second. What if you need it Saturday, but you didn't get it till that following Friday? Good luck. The urgency is, I need it now. Have it at your fingertips. Gold is going to continue to go up because it's the new world's reserve currency. Not the dollar, not the euro, not the pound. Gold and silver are absolutely needed. Again, you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, how can the government screw me today? Wealth tax, income tax, dividends tax, sales tax, real estate tax, registration tax for your car, boat, plane, train, you name it. Go look at the tax on your cell phone bill. Go look at the tax when you rent a car. Go to a hotel room. I don't care where you're going. The tax. Liquor tax on top of the sales tax. You're like, okay, hold on a second. I basically make $100,000 a year and I pay $70,000 in taxes. I have $30,000 left and I pay taxes on what I purchase. And it's like, yes, you do. Now just imagine that world in a digital form. You can't negate it. You can't say, oh, I've got more write-offs, because they are going to know exactly what you have. I'm telling you right now, once you go digital, you're not going to go back. And we're so close. We're so close to that new digital transformation. Let me read you some headlines here. I wanted to do this because I think it's important. And this is just October of 25, right here where we're at now. Coming into now we're in November. Now we're going to be in December. I mean, it's right here. It's now. It's like in the last few weeks. The digital euro would be a digital form of cash issued by the central bank and available to everyone in the euro area. So they make it sound, oh, it's great. It's easy. It's fun. It's efficient. You're going to love it. Yeah, that's what they said about different things that turn out to be toxic for the body. Seed oils. How about those things? Oh, you're going to love it. They're a replacement. They're better than tallow. It's going to be good. How margarine. That stuff, you might as well have been drinking oil, gas. Almost like, what did I say? Coolant. That's what I said the other day. Somebody asked me about different things we took in the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, which we thought, hell, I thought KFC chicken, which is great chicken, by the way. I'm not going to knock the chicken. It's just the way in which they make that chicken is a little bit, not toxic. Let's just say it's less good for you, but I love the chicken. I'm not going to kill it. Don't kill the chicken. Don't hate the chicken. Love KFC. Original recipe is my favorite, but the extra crispy is not bad either. Okay, so, and I'll still eat it, but I just don't eat it as much. I have to admit. Okay. But how many times did we get told sunblock was good? Don't worry about the skin rash you get. Don't worry about if you feel a little sluggish or if you feel like an irritation of sorts. Now we know that certain sunblocks are horribly bad for you. I mean, people never had sunblock till, I don't know what, late 70s, early 80s. Skin cancer was 10 times less or 90% less. It's now 10 times more in some areas, some people, some types with sunblock. People, are the clock ticking there? Are the wheels moving? Are you getting it? Not everything these people say is good for you, that's efficient, safe. And digital currency is definitely not. Digital world is definitely not, because it limits the ability of freedom. So is there an AI bubble? No, there's no AI bubble, because this is all fulfilling, prophecies, if you want to get right down to it. It's fulfilling prophecies. So what I'm going to say on the record today is that, hey, invest in the companies that are going to bring this to the market. Invest in the companies that are going to maintain this in the market. Invest in companies that are going to expand this after the fact and continue to expand it. The Microsofts, the Oracles. Let's see, what else? Some good ones. You've got Amazon, Google. There's CoreWeave. There's so many companies that are in this, from not just the beginning, the middle, at the end, and then the end, the end, the end, the end. You might as well make a ton of money, but there's going to be a day, mark my words, where you wake up in the morning and your money is now digitalized. It kind of is now anyway. You don't really get cash. You sell things and buy things, and you just push a button. I don't think we even write checks anymore. So at the end of the day, when that morning hits, and all of a sudden you can't withdraw cash because cash doesn't exist, and it will come. It is already here technically. It's just a matter of them putting it into our everyday life. Okay? You're going to say to yourself, why didn't I own gold and silver? I'm telling you, you're going to do it. And it's going to keep escalating up anyway. And I'm not here to sell you gold and silver. I'm just telling you it's a byproduct of something you should have as like a life jacket if a boat sinks, like a parachute if the airplane doesn't work anymore and you got to jump, or if you're just in a car and you say, you know what, I think I'm going to smash this car into this big cement wall. I'd wear the seatbelt first. I'd put that seatbelt on just in case if you're going to go and do a train wreck kind of situation, or if that was by accident. Or why do you have health insurance? Why do you have car insurance? I'm just saying, wealth insurance is cheap, but it's never thought about. So again, I'm going to break down one more part here because I think it's important. I'm giving you kind of the roadmap of the good, the bad, the ugly, but also some solutions here, at least to try to mitigate the damage that it's going to have on us. And it's going to be damage. Nope. You think you're going to own all these assets? Oh, let's talk about tokenization. Woo! Talk about tokenization. Well, first of all, what is tokenization? Tokenization is when they take your asset, let's say your house, and people will go, oh, I already own my house. It's paid for. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Okay, I dare you not to pay the real estate tax on that house, and let's see how long you own that house, even if there's no mortgage. And they're like, okay, I don't own my house. Bingo. Taxes, by definition, taxes are in a literally how do I say this gently? It's an attack on people. It is. It's an attack on people. Low taxes, the government's your partner. High taxes, it's an attack. It's an assault. It's a confiscation. Think about it. If I'm in a 10% pay across the board tax environment, like Monaco, 10% tax, sales tax, no real estate tax, no income tax. Well, they say they do have a real estate tax, but I think it's a one time, but their sales tax is 10%, but there's no income tax. That's a government that loves its people and encourages prosperity. Well, because the more you make, the more you spend, and they get their sales tax. Governments in Europe do not like their people. They hate their people. They hate the ones who make the most amount of money as well. So they attack those people with high taxes. That's an assault. So we are now going to start to see tokenization. Tokenization is where they're going to digitize all the paper. It's called smart contracts. So they take your mortgage, they write a piece of code that represents what that real estate is, where it's located, all the various specifics that are on the title. And they put that into what they call the blockchain, which is really just a server that holds the information that makes it impossible to transfer that ownership to another person without an encryption key that you write the code, you put it in there as a smart contract, your title, your deed, whatever it is, and it stays there. And now if you want to move it, I want to sell that house for $100,000. Well, I probably know a house for $100,000. I'll say $1 million, probably more realistic. You have a house for $1 million, and you want to sell it. This guy over here wants to buy it. The guy goes, I want to buy the house. Great. I need an encryption key to go into my computer, put his name, put his address, and then let him transfer the money as like a title company. You facilitate the transaction. Without that encryption key, you are never going to move that piece of real estate. You're never going to sell that car, that boat, that plane, that train. I don't care what it is. Because without an encryption key, you cannot legally, physically, of any kind, move the ownership. And the encryption keys are held by third parties. That's how the Genius Act works. That's how Europe did it. So when you have money to transfer, third party, can they get an encryption key? Are we going to hold those keys? No. There's already movements now to have basically vaults that hold the keys. Got to keep it safe, keep it efficient, keep it convenient. Have you heard that before? I have. Okay, well, if it's all of those wonderful things, why is it so hard to do it? Why do we have to do it in the first place? We want to stop fraud. Well, the fraud represents low single digits of what I'm talking about. So 95, 97% of the whole system is without fraud, and it works perfectly. Why does 2 or 3% represent 100%? We got to change it. We got to do it. Why? Because the people at the top want control. Healthcare, transportation, money, assets. Tokenization is what Larry Fink said, the way of the future. And within a few years, however he defines it, 3 years, 5 years, everything will be tokenized, which means your real estate, your stock account, your bond account, your digital silver and gold will be tokenized to the point where you no longer have the freedom, the access to move it, to sell it without some permission. Somebody somewhere is going to be asked, can I sell this? And they're going to look at you and go, yeah, for a 2% fee, 3% fee. It's a wealth tax. They have it now. So when you start to think about all of this and you start to put together all of the AI revolution, and not just about a little here, a little there, but a lot, and how it represents one thing. AI revolution is one thing. It ultimately leads to control. Control to where you don't have to hire, you can fire, you can make more money. If people go against you and you're in a position of authority, power, you're elected, you're appointed, or you just have billionaire status in a company, or you have this type of strength, you're going to do whatever it takes to maintain that level of wealth and that level of power, no matter who or what's in your way. It won't matter because you'll have everything at your fingertips. This is AI. It's already AI. The system of which when you dictate and it comes out, translates, all that, it's already there. What's interesting is how people have embraced it so fast, like Venmo. Crazy for people to have literally embraced it so quickly. But they did. And they did it incredibly well. They did it with Bitcoin. They proved the government, CIA, Mossad, NSA, MI6, all the various agencies that started it, promoted it, got involved in it to program. Well, first they had to condition us that something of nothing has value, like crypto. And then after they program you, to where after they condition to program you to use it every day, it's called adoption to consumption. Now it was easy for them 10, 15 years later to roll out digital currency as a centralized, there we go. So don't think the AI revolution is a bubble. It's not a bubble. Hiccups, yes. Ups and downs, absolutely. Ultimately, it leads to one thing: the New World Order and the Great Reset. And that's what we're talking about today's show. Is it worth it? It must be, because it's happening. Can we stop it? Not a chance. How do you protect your wealth? Do it before it's too late. I'm not saying gold and silver is the only thing. There's other things out there, but you better have it. You better do it quick, because that stuff is going up in value, because everybody at the top knows what the bottom people don't. Buy low, sell high. Protect your assets first and foremost. I am Christian Briggs, on the record. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back with another fabulous show.
In uncertain times, the smartest money doesn't sit in the stock market, it holds weight. The price of gold has risen from $1,700 an ounce in 2020 to over $3,800 by late 2025. Silver is currently around $46 an ounce, a 155% increase from roughly $18 5 years ago. Follow on X at BMC_HAM for all news and the latest developments.